Hey guys, we're back again. Another day. Okay. Well, it is time to do a little bit of gaming, shall we? And then, what's up, Gith? What's up, It's Just Unknown? What's up, Too Boring? What's up, Beach Have? What is up, Dre Fasana? What is up, Who Donald? Donald. We're gonna be doing some more. So, I was looking at all the weapons that I've tried so far. I tried a little bit of the balanced power sword. I did try out the balanced power axe a bit. This might be best in slot. It's either this or the block axe, but you get a lot of extra stuff on here. I think if you just build for pure damage like this, I think it's pretty damn good. Thank you, 303, for the Prime sub for 4 months. Currently on a 1-month streak. Thank you very much, dude. J Stone Miss. What's up, Mortifactus? What's up, Atlas? Hello, caught your stream for the first time. Welcome, welcome. Balance functions now. I mean, it's still the worst parry window technically, but as far as this weapon is concerned, it's pretty good. Even this knife is pretty good. This knife scales the difficulty, this one. Now, as far as that, I'm gonna make a whole video on the TECHMARINE, everything we know about him, and I'll make another one for like the actual release of him. And then we're gonna make like a ton of guides, guys. All the guides. We're also gonna be doing some wave 50 pushes on Siege at some point, or trying to do those. Maybe Hazel will be down for that, or other people. But I want to get back into Siege before the other thing. It's been a while, but I've been so smoked on content. Too lazy to open YouTube today, but you can always try. You can always try. So, as far as perks are concerned, this perk here is additive. Now, an interesting thing about Methodical Destruction is enemies damaged by equipment take 25% more damage for 10 seconds. This is a multiplicative damage buff to your range attacks and an additive damage buff to your melee attacks. So it's actually better for a range build, and you're better off taking Arc Cleave for a melee build. Perk here, this is an additive buff, this is also an additive buff, this is also an additive buff, and this is also a multiplicative buff. Let's say you have multiple instances of damage perks like this, and then they are additive together, which is kind of a funny interaction, but just so you guys know, Methodical Destruction, primarily take this on range attacks because it is multiplicative for them, it is not multiplicative for melee attacks. Hello, can't believe I got here so early. Welcome, welcome. Oh, what's up, brother? Heck yeah. What's up, Osborne? Yeah, I actually think the power axe here is pretty good. Now, I made a video of things I think need to be changed on this. I'm gonna be real, guys. I think the Plasma Incinerator just needs a buff in this game. Like, pretty dramatically. The Tactical is just way better, but it's only because this perk carries the fuck out of him. Without that, it's just not that good. The Joy Toy Dorn has arrived. Dude, I want a Joy Toy Sanguinius. I actually ran that for solo run on 12 Operation of the Oculus Carbine. Dude, Oculus is probably best in slot weapon for him right now, in my opinion. I don't think the grenade launchers are that strong on this class, just because, like, what are you really getting? Like, you're in the 8 nades. Like, it's okay. It's just way better on Tactical, because Tactical is so much more. I even think it's better on the Heavy class here, because the Heavy has just more point-blank damage with the grenade launcher. I did do a run of this yesterday. That was pretty fun. With the heavy bolt rifle and thermal boost, that is pretty fun in the true solo. But as far as TECHMARINE is concerned, I think this is just the best weapon for him at the moment. In terms of just like bolter damage, I mean, obviously you have the combi melt, you have the AoE of these abilities, but you can kind of make up for your AoE on the signature perks here, because this perk here, Omniscience Fury, servo gun shots at enemies on fire, this will apply burn just like instantaneously, so it doesn't matter which one you take. You could fire off a single plasma shot here and just set them all on fire. So that's a pretty cool interaction there. Now, I wish the Inferno pistol didn't reduce the range of your gun strike, but that's the way it is. And then we'll do this. He has the anime haircut. What are we talking about? The perks seem to conflict. They want to be over 20 meters away, but also a bunch of melee buffs. They want me to be close or far away. Well, the enemies are at different ranges in this game at all times. So like a sniper would be pretty far, and then a melee enemy is in your face. And then you have an automatic servo gun to blast guys. Weapon perks impact the servo gun. The servo gun auto targets body shots. Which weapon perks impact the servo gun? Which ones? Is that true? Let me test that out right now. Hey, guards, we need to know if the turret will be available in siege mode or just ops. I mean, even if the turret is available in siege mode, if it gets nerfed, I doubt the TECHMARINE is going to be that strong in siege mode, because there gets a point in siege mode where there's no fucking way that you are defending a servo gun. There's just no way. Like, they're going to do too much damage to you. What's up, Aldi? I've said your videos helped me a lot to understand the classes and more here for 4K Space Marine 2, but also getting to lore, or it's so still a baby in it all. I'm going to post some more lore videos too, because we are a 40K channel after all. The perks can conflict. What is the benefit of the new knife? It just gives you damage on parry. I'll make a video on that too. So which weapon perk is affecting this? Somebody said like the weapon perk affects the... is there FOV for consoles yet? That's never coming. FOV for consoles is never coming. Consoles can't handle it. They're just too weak. Dude, the damage of this is like pathetic. Look at the burn is free though. I know we're using a that is so much this is really good though. Adam, thank you for the Prime sub. When is it good to try absolute difficulty? I have a whole difficulty video on there, but I would say like generally once you're at like relic tier weapons and you feel comfortable, then you can do it. I would probably go up to lethal first though, for brand new. New assault perk is bugged. Yeah, it works on lunge attacks as well. I did hear about that. Yeah, you said weapon perks impact the servo gun. The servo gun auto targets body shots. Okay, so I don't think the servo gun can get a headshot multiplier, can it? For damage, perks like Divine Might, the 20% headshot damage, minus 10% also impacts the damage. That is so lame. Let me see if that's actually true. Let's test that out right now. We can change the loadouts. So if we take this, let's take off the burn for once. Ditto in for with the party of 4. Welcome, welcome, brother. Hello there. We just went live like 7 minutes ago. Hey FTG, what do you think of the TECHMARINE team perks? They're pretty shit. To be honest, battlefield repairs. This perk is hilariously stupidly bad. Hey, I just joined after the new operation drop. Is there some meaningful content coming? I mean, we have a whole new class, so I'd say that's pretty meaningful. I never really understood what exactly it did for the assault, the jump pack dash thing. Also, how does the new perk even work, or is it supposed to? I mean, it works exactly as it says it does. It's just, if you have the dash perk, you get your jump pack back. Which means that if you use a Wings of Flame, if you dive pack, because you only get the dash off of the jump pack, and you hit an enemy with it, you'll get it back instantaneously with a 10-second cooldown. And that means you can just dash around all the time and use things like the light attack on this thing here. Alright, well, let's test this out. Is this true? Does it actually affect all of them? We shall discover. It's him, first AI YouTuber. Yes, yes. FTG, well known as the AI YouTuber. What's up, Chapter Master? What's up, Lord Vegeta? Well, yeah, Battlefield Repairs perk is terrible. Good videos, man. Love watching them. Thank you, dude. What affects what? Somebody was telling me, Hypex, that perks like Divine Might and Tactical Precision will affect your gun strike, not your gun strike, your servo gun damage. Hope someday Bulwark can have new two-handed weapons, same as a Thunderhammer. I mean, probably will. Probably gonna get a great sword one day. Gonna get demonetized by YouTube because of the monotone voice. Hey! I don't have a monotone voice. Only sometimes. I have been, for years, I've been called a deadpan humorous type. I don't know how true that actually is, but We shall discover together. Now the time has come for a gigantic tyrannid in my face. Behold, Carnifex. Boom. Now, the time has begun to hit button. Alright, so that's 5.4 damage. I should have probably done this first. Instant ability to recharge. Oh, I probably should have done this. Okay. Good video. It's gotta be a fake comment. Fuck you, Mystery. What do you call? Another short stream like last night? We'll see, bloody. We'll see. I have a lot of work I've been doing on, like, multiple channels at this point. I also have a Dabura video coming out for JJK on Corpo Shinobi. Eventually. I promise them one. Whether or not they'll get it. See you loadouts. We'll swap to this one. So, that was... I guess it does change depending on, like, your actual gun here. So, which gun has the most damaging type, would be the question. So... oh, look at that. It does change depending. So right now my Oculus has the most. So what if I put the... let's see. That's pretty stupid. It should be a set amount, because otherwise, like, so I hate things like this. I hate things like this, where it's, the game just decides to do that shit to you. Just add a modifier to your firearm damage, scale firearm damage, and add percent sum to the moon. So it's not affected by that. That's a headshot damage buff. So what if I were to go back in? Okay, here's a thought. What PC specs do you have? It's in the description if you're curious. Make channel mods able to make polls. No, because I already know what poll you're going to make, Mystery. You're going to say, does FTG make good videos? And the answer is a resounding, obviously, not. But I like living in the dark, you know? That's so weird. It is quite weird, is it not? PC Mark II, yeah. We play PC 2, not PC 1, guys. So, they automatically aim for body shots. Hypex, you're here. I have a question. Can the sentry gun... can the servo gun even do headshot damage? Like, can it actually hit headshots at all? Or is it just, like, perma-locked to something else? So that might actually make it worth taking this perk over the other one. Also, perks like this would probably be better. I think this is actually worse for the damage on your actual gun, but it's better for the damage on your servo gun. Now, unfortunately, the servo gun is utterly fucking carried by Omniscience Fury. So, there's that. It's called community engagement. What would I know? I'm only your boss. That is true. I am a subsidiary of Mystery Incorporated. FTG will be going back to the weekly strats after the PTS week. At least for one day. Lamau, come on, man. I've spent probably 24 hours watching your videos and streams. Give yourself some credit. Appreciate you, dude. I appreciate you too, but this is not a self-glazed stream. You must always be your biggest critic, or you will stumble and fall, as they say. I would pull, is FTG funny? Well, I don't want the answer to that one. I wouldn't dare play this on my 1070. And for the record, I would vote yes. Well, that's nice of you. That's a nice thing you said all stream, Mystery. Gonna test some assault today? Possibly, Artemy. Possibly. Quite possibly. We may. Philosophical tour guardsman. You know, I've always lived by the mantra, you're entitled to nothing. That's why I only eat beans out of a can. Let's go and grab the damage tracker here. I'm just a little guy, you know. We have a Carnifex in our vicinity. So this perk here works on, let's just see. So our base Let me instant ability recharge. So 6.2 with all of these perks. That's pretty good. Now currently my favorite weapon, or one of, is the balanced axe, because you get the gun strikes and you get the... Like, this is the first time where, you know, you can gun strike in the middle of your overcharge, which is pretty sick. Now the percentage damage bonus is not worth taking at all from the one gun strike. Funny looking, peace loser. Let's chat later. Fuck you. Fuck you, mystery. Have a good one, dude, though, seriously. Thanks for stopping by. Let me... So we're gonna get an execute here, just to test this. Oh ho ho. So... that didn't really buff us up that much at all, even though we have the able damage active right now. So, what does it only count on? Oh, look. So it can do headshot damage, because I'm barrel stuffing him in the face. But it doesn't aim for the head. So you are right, Grim. That's funny. Switch to the sidearm and changes damage. That's true. It definitely does. And it also can hit heads. Look at what it takes to achieve damage on this compared to just taking the fire perk. Self-critical guardsman. Yes. Naturally, brother. It is the folly of all gamers to think they're entitled to anything. That's what I always say. Starting today. Let me, a balanced weapon, as Michael Jordan said, stop it. Get some help. No, I'm telling you, dude. Like, look how much damage this does. So we turn on vulnerability real quick just to show. This is gonna be base damage on this, okay? That's 145 plus 70. We did over 200 damage in a single power rake on a balanced one. They buffed up all the balanced weapons. They have higher base damage now. Like, that's just a dead Majora's there. So the perfect dodge one works. Copy. We're up to 7.2 on that. Okay, so it is. I'll make a guy in the servo gun later. So to put that in perspective, the block axe is doing like 170 on a power rake, but since we get the gun strike on this, we get actually more damage off of this one because we don't actually have to give up anything, unlike other classes. See, ain't that hot? Dock. Now get docked. Now that's gaming, brother. So the change should be standard damage and aim for heads. Yeah, it should be standardized damage. I think having it be like a 20% damage buff at times, like honestly, it can get close to like 40% of your damage buff. That's pretty silly. I think this class, the biggest issue I have with TECHMARINE is that this class is not easy to use in siege mode at all. He's too squishy. He's just like blatantly too squishy. I understand what Saber Interactive was trying to do. Saber Interactive was trying to make it so the TECHMARINE is like a keep away class, but that's just not how Space Marine 2 functions as a game. Like, you will just have to go into melee in this game. It's too gimmicky to have headshots. I don't think it's a gimmick. I think it's actually very strong. How much time do you have in this game now? 4,000 hours. Almost. We're going to make a whole guide for this. Starting right now. Hey guys, first Regardsman here, and today I want to talk about the Servo gun for Space Marine 2's brand new TECHMARINE class. Now, a ton of people have a tremendous amount of questions about how the hell this thing works, what the other variations are, how its damage is actually increased or decreased. We're going to go over that today a little bit. So, first of all, there are 3 variants of your servo gun. You have the standard bolter one, which I'm using now, and you can spec into the one here, which is called Precision Enhancement. The servo gun now targets single dangerous enemies and fires powerful precision shots, or the Plasma Enhancement, which gives your servo gun a plasma shot. Now, the way your servo gun works in this game is that the standard bolter ones, they do actually benefit from damage increases like Divine Might, like Able Damage and stuff like that. So, like, while these perks are active, you will get a damage buff, or excuse me, not able damage. It will buff up off of things like retaliation. It's kind of selective on what it chooses, but the big thing here is that weapon perks do affect the damage of your servo gun, and so do headshots. So headshot multipliers will technically take effect for the bolter version and the precision version, but the big problem here is that the servo gun automatically targets the body all the time in this game. So right now, the actual damage of your servo gun is pretty trashed here. It's not a very powerful weapon on its own, unless you take the perk here, Omniscience Fury. Servo gun shots set enemies on fire. This perk will apply the immediate burn on a single shot to any enemy hit by the servo gun here. So what that means is a single plasma shot will apply burn instantly to every single enemy hit. So like, this is the ultimate value combo right now. This might get nerfed in the official release. I kind of doubt it though, because I don't think it's like any more OP than other things we have in the game, and the servo gun does have a pretty long cooldown, but no, we'll get into that later. Now, as far as the precision shot is concerned, this one functions a bit differently. This is by far like the trashiest one in the game currently, in my opinion, only because it does not one-shot Majoris like at all. And the big benefit of precision enhancement in this game is that you are able to use a heavy bullet effect, and what that means is it turns your servo gun's damage type into a heavy bullet. And those will do more damage to things like Zoanthropes, which means you can actually one-burst a Zoanthrope with this version, which is like the only big use case scenario for it for now, but hopefully in the official release it'll be buffed up for everybody. But you know, we'll have to see what Saber does with that. Now, as far as your gun strikes are concerned, your gun strike damage, because of the servo gun, is taking the servo gun into account, not your secondary. And what that means is your secondary does not matter for the damage of your servo gun, and your servo gun has independent damage on its gun strikes as long as it is active. So basically, when you shoot a guy, if you have the plasma or standard TECHMARINE servo gun, you will do the base damage of the gun strikes, which is like around 87 or so, depending on like where you are on absolute difficulty. And if you take the perk here, Precision Enhancement, this will do slightly more. It's like a 12% increase, but to be honest, all the gun strike damage is fairly pathetic on the TECHMARINE, but that's kind of okay because you are able to constantly shoot off your gun strikes with the TECHMARINE class because you don't have to do any animation for it, which means you're getting more gun strikes overall, and that's really beneficial for things like the Balanced Axe, which is, in my opinion, the best weapon on this class currently, because the Balanced Power Axe does a tremendous amount of damage on the power wave, and you can also do a gun strike automatically after it, which actually makes your total damage come out to a higher amount than even the block axe, which is pretty crazy. And part of that's because they buffed up the balanced weapons in Space Marine 2 patch 12, but that's a pretty neat little effect, even though balanced windows do kind of suck. Now, I'm going to go in-game and showcase the servo gun a bit, just to give you a better idea of what I was talking about previously. Okay. Let's go do that. You know, I think a lot of people are going to have like trouble with the Tarantula sentry guns. The TECHMARINE, dude. The TECHMARINE. Yeah. You're all so funny. I have to go back and watch your precision long range build video later. How was it? It was fun. Like, I won't lie, the precision shot will do like a tremendous, gargantuan fuck you amount of damage in this game. It will like absolutely shit on people. So the servo gun isn't that good? No, it's pretty good. It's just not that good without the burn, because the burn actually applies to like everything. It shouldn't be that bad considering I can use Vanguard without the Melta and pretty much do melee only. It would probably feel about the same to me. Just make sure, pay extra attention to get your health back whenever you can. We need laugh cues. Yes, it's time, audience, laugh. Okay. So let's pull this out. So we're going to set this to instant ability recharge and invulnerability and damage tracker. So we do have the burn effect on, and what that means is the precision one. Actually, I'm pretty sure we have precision, right? Yeah, we do, because you can tell if you have the. So the way to tell which bolter you have is if you see the little red laser beam shooting, that's the precision one, because this shit's like straight out of Breaking Bad season 5, where it's the best hitman on the entire West Coast, this side of the Mississippi, because he's got the laser pointer. Unfortunately, in Space Marine 2, it will kill fucking nothing, but that's besides the point. Except for these guys, which are going to spawn in a second. Where are they? Right here. So, right. So here in game, we are firing a zoanthrope. We have the precision enhancement, which means we have a heavy bullet type. When we fire this, we will do 1 volley and kill this thing in like 3 shots, which is pretty good. Now, unfortunately, if I were to take the precision shot one to a Tyranid warrior, like the Whip warrior, for example, these guys don't take bonus damage from heavy bullet damage, which means we do pretty much nothing without the burn effect. And the burn effect is triggered there, so we do actually wind up getting the kill. But without the burn, you would not be killing this guy at all. Now, another thing I want to show here is how this actually functions with your weapons. So we have a bunch of damage bonuses on our Oculus Bolt Carbine here. And what I mean by damage bonuses are like flat damage, 10% bonuses like Divine Might, Able Damage, and Retaliation. So if I spawn a Carnifex here, and we fire normally, so we pull our secondary and fire normally, we're doing like 30 damage per shot. Right, if it would actually come back, that'd be nice. We'll take 2 this. I don't want to use the precision one, because it's not that good for this. Hey, FCG, what's up? Hey, Clyle. How are you? We're just testing some gaming. Now, it's also, as far as the Tarantula Sentry gun is concerned, when the Tarantula Sentry guns lose out on all their damage, can you precision the Plasma? Well, no, because Plasma is a completely separate effect than the other one. Hypex, if you're still here, does the loadout actually count for like the perks at all? I doubt it does. But we're gonna use the normal one here. It's just a better showcase for what we're trying to show. The Techno Viking Iron Priest. Okay, you guys are memers. Any tips for doing better as Bulwark? I'll be having a whole Bulwark class guide later in the month. Just stay tuned. But for now, I would say double tap your parry. It makes your life 10 times easier. It makes your life 10 times easier. Did they say anything about adding more melee weapons to the tactical? As a matter of fact, they did. They said that they've thought about it, it's just not happening this patch. So it'll probably happen eventually. Loadout's gonna change perks. Wait, did you say the Balance Axe does more damage? So the reason the Balance Axe does more damage is because, let's just show an example here. We're using the Balance Axe right now. So if we go Damage Tracker, if you go Instant Ability Recharge, and we just go Invulnerability so we don't get shit on. If we spawn a Carnifex in, our wave will do 145 damage on its own. So a wave from a block power axe will do 170. But since we are a TECHMARINE, we have what's called a 0 downside gun strike. And because of that, we can do things like this, which is we get our parry and then we just immediately gun strike him. So we did over 200 damage. That is over a block axe, at least like a single charge. And you can do that every single time. The power axe in general is very good with this perk, just because. Here. Can I non-targetable you? Right. Alright, here we are in game once again to show the standard plasma. Oh shit. Alright, here we are in game once again to show the standard bolter variant of the servo gun. Now, our normal damage here is around 4.6 with our secondary equipped, not including burn. So, if we swap over to our Oculus bolt carbine, and since this one... Fuck. Retake that. Ahem. Alright, here we are in game again to talk about the standard bolter version of the servo gun. Now, if we body shot this guy with our secondary equip that has no damage buffs active, we will do like 4.6. So to show that as like a example of the base damage of this weapon, if we swap to our Oculus bolt carbine, which it does have damage buffs like the weapon perk effects of Divine Might and Retaliation when it's actually active, our base damage goes up. So we're now doing 6.2, not including burn, which is doing more than all of that. You know, that's more of a problem with the servo gun in general. So the weapon you choose does matter a lot for the damage of your servo gun. Now, the servo gun will primarily shoot for the body, as you can see here. But if we walk up and barrel stuff him, you can see the damage will occasionally jump up. It's kind of hard to see here. Alright, well, we couldn't hit him in the head there, but the point is that the servo gun can do headshot damage, but it doesn't usually hit the head at all, only because it's 99% of the time aiming for the body. So just keep that in mind. I hope they actually change that to be like a base damage, or like, you know, a set damage for the servo gun, because right now, having to worry about like which weapon you're choosing, if you have your primary equipped, if you're actually hitting them in the head, where you're personally positioned, that's a little too complicated, in my opinion, for most players. So we'll see if they actually change that for the official release. I hope they do, because I think a set damage just make it a lot more I guess stable for a lot of builds in the game and give players a lot less confusion, because there's nothing in the game right now without the Battle Barge expansion to show them that the base damage goes up when they are using a better primary. So that is a change I think should happen. Do we know what FOV's camera is? It's 1.25. I pretty much always play on 1.25 because I just think it's the best. Does the heroic heavy bolters grenade launcher add to the perk that causes enemies to take 25% more damage for 10 seconds? The heroic, yes. So, in what way? In what way do you mean does it take advantage for 25%? Oh, you mean the heavy bolt rifle's grenade launcher? No, the heavy bolt. So the heavy bolt rifle in this game, if you go to loadouts, this is just range damage. That's all this is. Like, we can even see that reflected here. That, like, this is just range damage. It's damage type explosives. It's not even range damage, but that's a type of range damage, if that makes sense. Like, there's so the way that the stuff works in the game is that you have a damage type bullet, and then you have a damage type explosive, and then you also have damage type melta. You also have damage type shock from weapon effects like discharge. And you also have the damage type for heavy bullet, which is for things like the heavy bolter, which is why they shred certain enemies so much faster than others. Like a stalker bolt rifle, I believe, has a damage type heavy bullet, which will do more damage to zoanthropes and stuff like that. Because some enemies in this game take more damage from certain weapon types than others. So an enemy like a warrior devourer, like this guy, he will take more damage from plasma in this game than a standard warrior will, because they have a fundamental debuff to it, which is kind of interesting, but... Or I'm trying to remember that correctly. At least one of them does. So keep that in mind, that, like, your damage type does matter. Unfortunately, there was nothing in Space Marine 2 to tell you what the fuck your damage is. So, that is unfortunate. Now, the final one we'll show here is Plasma. I also want to note that just like all gun strikes in this game, sword warriors are the bane of life, because they will just block your plasma shot. They will just block your gun strike shots all the fucking time in this game, dude. How you guys doing, though? How you doing, Volcro? As far as what I think is the best for the fencing setups, so there are a couple options you have here with the TECHMARINE. In terms of weaponry, first of all, the new heroic fencing one, I think this is just the best fencing weapon in the game currently. If you have this heroic perk effect here, pointy end, damage of the attack after Omnisign Rush is increased based on time of the charge. This can do some pretty fancy things to enemies. It does up your damage a lot. And as far as like charge builds go, I think this is the best overall. At least for me, just because you get the discharge, you get all the explosion damage, like the no knockback, which is pretty mandatory. You also don't have to take these super gimmicky perks like Rampage and the things over here, Restorative Takedown, and of course Explosive Strike. I wouldn't set up this way for like the block version. I would just go down the bottom tree, because this perk here, Cleaving Strike, like combo attacks this weapon, deal damage to nearby foes around the target. This is actually pretty good, though it will blow up barrels on you, which is pretty unfortunate. Wait, all ranged heroes take 50% more damage from ranged damage. Oh yeah, so that's which one was the one for plasma specific Hypex? We're just misremembering that. I might be. Hope you're doing well, FTG and chatters. What's up, Scroters? Imagine how good. Do you mind showing the infinite ground pound build for assault? I mean, that's just Zealous Blow. That's all it is. It's like every build I've ever done for him. What would you say is the best melee option for TECHMARINE? I mean, it's Block Axe or Balanced Axe. Those are just the two best at the moment. I don't think it's this axe. Like, this axe is pretty good. Omniscient Axe is probably like an A or high B tier weapon. I would say this weapon's better than the Power Sword is right now, but I don't think... The axe is just too good to not take, or like the Power Gladius, because the Power Gladius is also very strong, because you have so many melee damage buffs. First of all, this is the first time in Space Marine 2 we have ever had a knife on a class that has the Overcharge perk, and that's all this perk is. This is just Overcharge from the Assault and Bulwark class. It's the exact same perk effect. Damage from held and charged melee attacks increases by 25%. It's just a copy-pasted perk effect. However, none of these classes have access to the knife. They have every other melee weapon. So what that means is we can finally use a Power Gladius... We use a Power Gladius Shadow Stab with 360% bonus damage on top of a multiplicative damage buff from Overcharge on the Arc Cleave, and then the additive buffs here push the advantage, and the perk here counter-offensive protocols, which is pretty neat. And this one's really easy to set up as well. There's that. This may be the only weapon you don't use the block variant on. Yeah, the Omniscient Axe. I don't think the Omniscient Axe is that good with the block variant. I really don't. It's okay. I would just build down the bottom tree. Though I think that final perk on the bottom tree isn't really worth taking, only because the double slam, I don't know, it's just a really clunky thing to pull off in the game. It's a very clunky thing to pull off. Imagine how good it will be with a turret, servo gun, tactical, and a full-loaded heavy with a heavy bolter. It'll be pretty damn fun, bro. Alright, we're going to talk about the, So what I want to showcase here... So there's a couple things. There's a couple things I want to show here. So first, we're going to go non-targetable, because we're not actually trying to get gun strikes on this. Non-targetable, instant ability recharge, we're going to use here for now, and like damage tracker. So the way that burn works in Space Marine 2 is that you will apply... I just asked Hypex about this, so I'm 100% confident. The way that burn works in Space Marine 2 is that you will apply full burn immediately after a single hit from Omniscient's Fury. So what that means is, for example, so here we are once again with the plasma variant of the servo gun. Now, the big thing about this version is that on its own, it's pretty shit. But when you combine it with the burn effect on your signature perk, you'll be able to apply, ridiculous amount of burn on... Fuck. That was just not good. I'm brain farting, chat. My god. So here we are with the plasma incinerator... So here we are with the plasma version of the servo gun in the testing arena. Now, the big thing about this one is it's mainly supposed to be a crowd control weapon for like Hormagaunts and stuff like that, but because of your signature perk, the Omniscient's Fury, applying burn to all the enemies, the way the burn effect works in Space Marine 2 is like once you've applied burn to an enemy, you've applied burn. It'll do its whole effect. So this one only needs a single shot on it to actually apply the full burn in game and just like instantaneously give them that, as opposed to the Pyroblaster, we kind of have to like wait a bit to apply the burn. So I'll show that here now. Like we hit it once, and you know that's 2 shots. You stop it more faster than that. But now they have full burn on them, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 enemies just got burned alive. That is a lot of value out of a single shot. You know, if we do it again, so that's 2 shots, and we stop it. That's so much value from a single plasma incinerator shot, or I should say plasma servo gun shot. Now, as far as the way the servo gun actually functions is that you can turn it off. It does have a bit of a delay, so if I activate it, I get 2 shots and I hit it again with my Q, and I've turned off my servo gun. Now, another way you can disable that is by rolling, because when you are rolling on the TECHMARINE, you can no longer fire your servo gun because it's on your back. So for example, I'm just going to spam roll. My character is no longer shooting, and as long as you are not shooting, you are not spending energy. And while you are rolling, you can hit your Q again to deactivate your servo gun. Now, I have an instant ability recharge here, but so if I take that off, and we're going to shoot 1 shot, and we're going to roll. We can turn it off immediately in our roll. Okay, well, I didn't do it right there. But you get the idea. The point is that as long as you're rolling in Space Marine 2, your servo gun will not fire anymore. And that's a pretty important tool to actually save you energy. And also make sure you're doing your DPS, because if you're trying to run away, backstepping can be more beneficial than just like panic rolling. So keep that in mind when you actually decide to play the TECHMARINE. Not even the heavy does that. So, yeah, so if I do here, a side roll, and I can turn it off again and save 1 shot. That's pretty useful. The second slam only does stagger, not damage, by the way. That's probably a bug. That is probably a bug. That is probably a bug. God, I fucking love this game. I'm a proper addict. I wanted to add more Great Crusade era armor pieces for my homebrew and my Iron Warriors Marines. And they will be given to you, brother. Naturally. As is tradition of the Space Marine. Marines in space. Does anybody here, by the way, did any of you guys watch Mobius Cypher? Once TECHMARINE has kind of like come out and slowed down a bit, I will be playing Space Hulk Deathwing. They just posted a video about that. That was pretty funny. But I want to play Space Hulk Deathwing again. With all the bugs of this PTS, I need more than just 1 month to get it all situated. That is true. Okay. Now, one final thing I want to mention that is really only going to be a problem on the public test server, at least I hope it's only a problem on the public test server, is that the perk down here on your prestige perk list, Furious Gunstrike, that reads, after using a gunstrike, melee damage increases by 25% for 5 seconds. This will not trigger off of a servo gun gunstrike currently. It will only trigger off a normal gunstrike. And the only way to achieve a normal gunstrike on the TECHMARINE class is when your servo gun is currently in use by your actual, like, you know, unleash volley ability. So, like, while you're using your servo gun to shoot the enemy, you cannot use it to gun strike. So just keep that in mind, and that is the only time you're able to do a normal gun strike during that period, and that is the only time you're able to apply this perk because of that. But I assume that'll be boosted, but just in case it's not, I was going to put it here at the very end. But hopefully this gave you a better idea of how the servo gun works. I will be doing a full breakdown on everything regarding the TECHMARINE in the coming days, so stay tuned for that. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Bye. You think the hammer is a good first heroic weapon? I play Bulwark with the fist. I want to play with a different weapon now. You can use whatever the hell you want, brother. What is a good weapon really in Spaceman 2? What does a good weapon even mean, brother? Okay. Now let's talk about the Tarantula sentry guns. 15% faster recharge after a revive is pathetic. Dude, I've had people actually try to tell me that perk is good. Like, you're just wrong. That's like, there are very few things I would ever say in the video. Oh, it's Mobius Cypher, dude. Dog, what a time to join. Mobius, you should play Space Marine 2 with me sometime. I watched your video today. That was quite funny. Have you ever played the game Space Beast Terror Fright? That game is really fun. That's like the best. That's like the most underrated.
My brothers have fallen, but I stand in their stead.
Well, the most unofficially licensed Space Marine game of all time. They're all good in some way. That is true. Space Hulk definitely mentioned. Indeed, brother. It's a good game. It's the only place you play as a Terminator. Alright, so we're gonna... Now... Now, it's time to show the Tarantula sentry guns in action, so we're going to spawn in a friendly one. Now, the way that Tarantula sentry guns work is that they will spawn on map in preset locations, similar to Guardian Relics and your Gene Seed spawns. However, those set locations are randomized, just like Guardian Relics, so I will say they are far more plentiful, and while not all the locations are, like, super beneficial in terms of, like, where they're positioned, you can pull enemies back to an active Tarantula gun, because once you interact with them like this, you will not have to deal with, you know, reactivating them at all. Like, they will stay up until they're either out of ammo or they blow up. So that's a pretty big thing to mention here. Sloppy Billet YP says, for Rin's World. Yes, Sloppity. Thank you very much. You don't get iframes with activating them, right? Just like any other interaction lock. Yeah, I should mention that too. No, we'll do the whole mention. So Tarantula sentry guns are what we would call cracked. So if we look at like the Tarantula sentry guns, one Tarantula sentry gun is enough to handle a boss currently. That will certainly be nerfed, but even then, they're pretty good, and they don't get destroyed until they just blow up. Keep that in mind. I had not played that note. I'm down to play whenever, though. I'm only really free weekends, so got a plan for it. No problem, dude. You always hit me up in my Discord if you're in there or not. I don't know what yours is if you have one, but they run out a lot. And some locations are just ... after you finish the fight. Okay, well, we'll talk about this.
Inserting fresh magazines.
All right, so here it is time. So here in game on the testing arena with the Tarantula sentry gun. Tarantula sentry guns are one of the most potent tools of the TECHMARINE on like this whole fuck. Not a good take. I was not a good take, people. Any tips for helping new players since I'm trying to help my fellow Xbox battle brother? I have a whole updated guide list. I'll be making a new player guide as well. So if you're curious about that, that'll be coming on this channel, Liam. But if you want to see some updated guides and also some of the patch 11 build guides, those are all still totally viable for what's in the game currently, if that's something you want to see. So they are on the channel in the playlist. But nice. Yes, indeed, Crimson Fist. A lot of perks are really good, but suck when you actually use them. That's just the case of Spaceman 2. Alright, now we are here on the testing arena to talk about the Tarantula sentry guns. Now, the Tarantula sentry guns, they are spread out... Now we are here on the testing arena to talk about the Tarantula sentry guns. Now, the Tarantula sentry guns, like Guardian Relics and Gene Seeds, they are spread out in preset locations on operations maps, and they are randomized among those preset locations. Now, unlike Guardian Relics and Gene Seed locations, they are far more plentiful, and you'll be able to find these in pretty much every single choke point. Definitely some major ones. And all you have to do when you find one of these in a map is just interact with them like this, and you're going to put his little Mechadendrite arm down, and bada bing, you have an active Tarantula sentry gun. And they will never turn off unless they run out of ammo or they get destroyed, so keep that in mind. Now, currently in the game, these things do what I would call a truly divine amount of damage. So if I were to spawn a Carnifex, you know, a casual Carnifex, as we will, he is no match for the simple power we have one over there. But you can still see that, like, even with just one, it would be ridiculous. And they have a ridiculous amount of HP here as well. Like, they simply cannot handle the power of the sentry gun. Now, that will surely be nerfed in the coming days for Space Marine 2, but I just want to make sure you guys are aware that the sentry guns, they work on their own, their targeting is quite powerful, and even if they run out of ammo, all that happens is that they go into standby again, and you can just keep reactivating them over and over and over again until they get destroyed. So they are pretty potent. I hope they don't nerf their damage too much. And as far as what happens when you actually activate them in this animation here, which I'll spawn down, you are not invulnerable during this animation at all, so keep that in mind. You can't die in it, I will mention that. Like, just like all the other interactables in Space Marine 2, it is impossible for you to die while you are activating one of these things, but you will take full damage. So just be aware. You gotta be careful or have like your teammates back you up. But like once they're active, they will absolutely shred any enemy. They will not regenerate you any CHP because they don't count as your damage, but who really cares when they're wiping out the entire horde? Love the original Boys in Blue. Yeah, you guys like my Crimson Fist? I've not made a Discord server as of yet, but I did join yours a bit ago, so we can set something up through there. You just ping me. I don't know what your name. Maybe your name's the exact same thing, but if you want to ping me, you're free to ping me. Most people don't. I'm actually shocked. Oh, here you are. I found you. I found you. Unless somebody else happened to name themselves Mobius Cypher. You've been added. TECHMARINE Gaming. Does this class have any support capabilities except for Sim +1 armor? I don't know. Do you consider a Tarantula sentry gun that obliterates every enemy in front of you a support ability? Because I'd say, yeah, that's pretty good. Besides that, you have your burn plasma, which is also a very good support ability. The whole point of this class is like playing keep away. Like that's what they were trying to do here. They're pretty cool. Now, I will say your servo gun, one thing I do want to mention about the servo gun is that the servo gun will apply full damage, will give you back CHP regen as well. That's pretty neat. We like that. TECHMARINE needs to fuse a few perks together. That's true. If we're talking about shit tier perks, like this one needs to go. I made a whole video about this before I went live, but I'll probably post that tomorrow or later tonight about what I think the TECHMARINE needs to have like a serious fix on. Number one, the TECHMARINE is just too squishy. Like, he is way too squishy in Space Marine 2. This class is like a diabolically squishy for like how I guess how damaging he is compared to other classes. He does have a lot of damage, but I think that what their plan was is to make him a keep away class. But because of that, they gave him like no damage reduction, and they also gave him like no knockback, which is pretty diabolical in this game. That's pretty rough. That's a pretty rough thing for this game. Like, having no knockback in Space Marine 2. Live in the studio is great every time. I actually have an easier time talking sometimes. Live, it really depends on the day, though. I had to give my voice 1 day of regen. Really feels like his melee fails to restore contested health, at least sometimes. There is a CHP bug on the public test server, so keep that in mind. Now let's break down his perk tree. Hey guys, first regardsman here, and today I'll be talking about the TECHMARINE class in Space Marine 2 on the public test server for patch 12.0 to break down all of his weapons, his entire perk tree, and his prestige perk list we'll do it live. We'll do it live. Okay. Hey guys, first regardsman here, and today I'll be talking about the TECHMARINE class in Space Marine 2 on the public test server for patch 12.0 to break down all of his weapons, all of his perks, and all of his prestige perks, and his class ability. Now, the TECHMARINE is a really fun class in Space Marine 2. I think this is the most entertaining class by far. He very much feels like a fuck. Alright, this time for sure. Hey guys, first regardsman here, and so I'll be talking about the brand new TECHMARINE class for Space Marine 2 patch 12.0 on the public test server. Now, we're going to be breaking down all of his weapons, his entire perk tree, and his class ability here, and I just want to say the TECHMARINE is an incredibly fun class in this game. This guy feels like he has taken into account all the updates we've had for the past year and a half, and his gameplay is very fluid. I think he'll be very popular, and maybe a bit more difficult to play for some players, we'll get into that. And overall, he's in a pretty decent spot as far as fun is concerned. There are some issues with him, but I think a lot of those will be addressed by the time he officially releases. Now, as far as the weapons the TECHMARINE has available to him, number one, he has the auto bolt rifle, the standard bolt rifle, which gives you access to the grenade launcher and the combi melta, of course, the heavy bolt rifle, which has a brand new access to the heroic heavy bolt rifle, doesn't actually have a name yet, that has an underslung grenade launcher on top of the Oculus bolt carbine and the plasma incinerator. Now, his secondary options are the bolt pistol, which gives you the access to the heroic bolt pistol, heavy bolt pistol with retribution's request as well, the plasma pistol, Inferno pistol, which got a buff to its gunstrike damage this patch, and the Neo Volkite pistol, which also got a buff to its gunstrike damage this patch. So he has a lot of options for guns. And as far as melee weapons go, he also has a lot of options here. Number one, we have the combat knife, and he is the only class in Space Marine 2 that has access to not only the combat knife, but also the perk overcharge, we'll get into later. And on top of that, you also have the power sword, power axe, and the brand new Omniscion axe. Now, I know a lot of people want to hear all about this. We'll break this down even more in a later video, but for now, I want to say I think this weapon is really fun, a very interesting moveset to say the least, and honestly pretty strong. I don't think it's like the strongest option he has, but it's definitely up there. I would take this weapon over the power sword currently, and as far as its heroic variant is concerned, it's one of the best options for it, and that's a pretty good thing to have for your heroic weapon, because heroic weapons are pretty damn popular in Space Marine 2 for good reason. Now, I'm going to go break down the perk tree here next. The TECHMARINE's class ability here is called the Servo Gun. Ability, unleash a powerful servo gun volley, and your starting perk is you can detect and activate Tarantula sentry guns. They will attack nearby enemies until they run out of ammo or are destroyed. Now, Tarantula sentry guns will appear on map for operations. They are currently not in siege mode, but similar to Gene Seeds and the Guardian Relic pickups, they are in randomized preset locations, though I should mention they are far more plentiful on map than the Gene Seed and Guardian Relic spots. Like, you will find them in quite a few areas, and once you activate one, you will just be able to basically funnel a bunch of enemies to you and blow them apart. So pretty powerful option there. And as far as the servo gun goes, this is the signature weapon on your shoulder. You have three variants for this. The base version is the standard bolter version, which you just take by taking the explosive enfilade perk, which is pretty much mandatory to actually use it because the other two will change your gun. And you have the precision enhancement, which turns it into like a sniper option for long range shooting, and the plasma enhancement, which turns it into a plasma projectile AoE machine. So pretty unique options there. Currently in the public test server, the servo gun is a bit underpowered in base damage. We'll talk about that later. As far as how it performs in combat, it will recover your CHP while it's firing. It is fully automatic. You cannot use it while rolling, but either way, it's a pretty fun tool. I think people will be very big fans of this. And now, one thing I want to mention that's not actually mentioned in his perks at all is that this class is able to automatically gunstrike without actually using your secondary animation whatsoever. So what that means is, when you get a parry on the TECHMARINE class, you will then get the opportunity to gunstrike an enemy. As long as your servo gun is not in action, you will be able to just fire it off for an automatic gunstrike. It will do less damage than your secondary would, because the servo gun does not take the damage of your secondary for a gunstrike into account, but it does take the version of the servo gun you've chosen. And what I mean by that is, if you take precision enhancement, you will do the most damage on your gun strikes on the servo gun, and then plasma and the standard one do the exact same amount. All of it is pretty low, but that's kind of like the trade-off for getting these automatic gun strikes. Now, while you are having your servo gun active, you will not be able to gun strike with it, but the servo gun isn't active for that long, and that's a pretty easy thing to work around. Now, the next thing I want to talk about here is his perk tree. So first up, we have Explosive Enfilade. After using equipment, your range damage increases by 15% for 10 seconds. This perk is an additive buff. It is pretty nice to have. I will say the equipment focus on the TECHMARINE feels pretty damn good to use, and it definitely has a pretty nice range focus, because the next perk I'll go into down here is called Methodical Destruction. Enemies damaged by equipment take 25% more damage for 10 seconds. The way this perk works is that it will apply a multiplicative damage buff to your ranged attacks versus enemies that are hit by your equipment, and an additive damage buff to your melee attacks. So this is like primarily for a ranged build, which is pretty nice and definitely fits that overall playstyle, because if you're taking melee, you're probably going to take the other perk up here, Arc Cleave. Damage from charged melee attacks increases by 25%. This perk is the exact same perk that the Bulwark and Assault have. Is just overcharge on the TECHMARINE here, and even though they just renamed it, it's the same effect. It's a multiplicative damage buff. It'll affect your Power Wave on your Power Axe, the Shadow Stab on your Combat Knife, the Power Rake on your Power Sword, and the heavy attacks of your brand new Omniscient Axe. It is a very powerful perk option. This is also the first time we have ever had Arc Cleave with a Combat Knife, so pretty neat thing there. And the final perk in this row is probably the weakest in my opinion, Omniscient Axe Deflection. After a perfect parry or perfect block, you will take 25% less damage from range attacks for 5 seconds. You know, a 25% reduction to range attacks is pretty nice because this class doesn't have any damage reduction outside of things like this or the perk up here, Reinforced Position, or your Prestige perk tree, Defensive Stance, we'll get into later. But to be honest, the other perks up here like Methodical Destruction, especially Arc Cleave, are just too valuable to give up. So I think they should probably buff this one up into like a proper damage reduction in my opinion, because that would make it like a serious choice between these other two, which I think are just strictly better at the moment. Next perk I want to talk about here is Explosives Adept. Damage from equipment increases by 20%. This perk is pretty damn powerful. You know, if you want to go for the full equipment focus, you can take Methodical Destruction, you can take the perk up here, Explosives Adept, and you can also take the perk down here in your Prestige perk list, Blast Radius. You have an increased radius for your equipment damage. These all feel pretty fun to play with. I think players are going to be having a lot of fun with this combo, especially if you take the team perk, Combat Squad Resupply, that gives your entire team an additional equipment except for Melt-A-Bombs. And I think they did a pretty good job incorporating this equipment feel on the entire class, and the synergies are quite evident. Now the next perk in this column here is called Push the Advantage. After a finisher, your melee weapon deals 20% more damage for 15 seconds. This perk is okay. It does have a pretty decent amount of a damage buff, but the big thing here is that unlike the perk Arc Cleave, the other two melee perks in this tree, like Push the Advantage and the perk over here, Counter Offensive Protocols, these are both additive buffs and not multiplicative, and because of that, their value is a little bit lower than this one, but it's still pretty decent. The final perk down here is called a Long Range Barrage. Range damage at ranges greater than 20 meters increases by 25%. This perk is really damn good. I actually think this perk, on top of things like the Oculus Bolt Carbine, is going to be one of the strongest options for this class, because the Oculus Bolt Carbine has a variant with a ×2 headshot multiplier, and because of that, your headshot damage goes up tremendously. And on top of your headshot damage, damage perks like Retaliation and Divine Might over here that give you a 10% damage buff, these will buff up the damage of your servo gun. Your servo gun will do more damage based on the base damage of your weapon, which is kind of silly. I kind of hope they change that, because for now it makes it so your servo gun can definitely be held back by your primary. I don't think that's really a good thing for the class, but for now it's the way it is. And your servo gun can also do headshot damage, though it does always aim for the body, which is kind of unfortunate. That's the way it is. Now, this perk combined with perks like with weapons like the Oculus Bolt Carbine will have you doing a tremendous amount of range damage, especially if you stack it on top of things like Methodical Destruction and Explosive Enfilade. This is a really fun perk combo in the game, in my opinion, and Oculus Bolt Carbine is probably like a best in slot bolter option for like straight damage on your per shot. The bolters, and the only reason I would take other options like the grenade launcher and stuff like that is for the obvious reasons that you have a grenade, and the plasma incinerator overall I think is held back the most, because unfortunately the TECHMARINE does not have perks like Plasma Boost, which kind of carry this on Tactical. It also doesn't have all the other range damage buffs that are very easy to obtain that the Tactical does, but that's kind of an unfortunate oversight in my opinion. I think this one needs to be buffed though. Now, as far as our team perk selection, this is where it gets a little more unfortunate, because the first perk we have here is called Reinforced Position. All team members within 15 meters of an active Tarantula sentry gun take 25% less damage and deal 15% more damage. This buff is really nice. 15 meters is not too far away from your sentry gun, but it's also not too close. It is pretty easy to stay around your sentry gun while this is happening. The only reason this perk doesn't matter too much currently is because the sentry gun on its own is so ridiculously powerful that it does not matter if you have buffs around it at all, but I'm sure that will change in the official release, so it could be a pretty fun little perk effect here. Now, the next perk here is actually dog shit. Battlefield Repairs. All team members fully regenerate their armor and gain 1 additional armor segment when using Medicae stims. This perk sucks. I don't know who came up with this one. We saw this leaked in the way back June leaks for the siege mode of last year, and they haven't changed it at all since then. It's not that getting armor off a stim is a bad effect on its own, but compared to other team perk effects, this is just not good. Like, Medicaid stims in Space Marine 2 are just not common enough to have a team perk completely built around them, and only getting armor off of this, that's not the worst effect ever, but it's definitely not going to come up that often, so I think this will be like the least picked team perk overall for this class, and they really should rework this one. Next one down here is Combat Squad Resupply. All team members gain 1 additional equipment except for Melta Bombs. I mean, this one's pretty neat. It's definitely good for the TECHMARINE, but when we compare it to the other perk here, which is Secure Stockpile, equipment charges by 1 for all team members, cooldown at 60 seconds. This perk is just strictly better. I mean, this is 60-second Melta Bombs for your entire team, and Melta Bombs are by far the best equipment in the entire game. And for some reason, they decided to exclude that here. Maybe it's because they were worried of synergies with the Secure Stockpile perk, but to be honest, it's just not remotely as good. But maybe they'll buff it or nerf Secure Stockpile, but I hope they do the former. Next perk here is Designated Target. Enemies hit by the servo gun take 15% more damage for 10 seconds. This is an additive damage buff for 10 seconds. It's pretty good. I think it's like the best in this whole tree right now because the perk down here, Inexorable Salvo, while the servo gun is active, you don't lose control from heavy hits and you cannot be knocked back. This perk is okay. You know, no knockback in this game is a very strong effect. Unfortunately, your servo gun is not active that often, and when it is active, being knocked around doesn't matter that much anyways, so I hope they do take a look at this at some point because it's just not a very strong no knockback effect, and no knockback in general is a problem for this class. The final perk down here is Synergistic Arsenal. Servo gun recharge rate increases by 25% when you're near Tarantula Sentry gun. This perk is also not that good. I mean, Tarantula Sentry guns, they're fairly plentiful, but in the case of this perk, I mean, a 25% recharge rate versus just getting your bonus damage, I think bonus damage is best. So for now, I think this is like the overall best in slot in this column, but this one could be okay. Next perk here is Augmented Ammunition Feed. Servo gun recharges 15% faster. This is a pretty good effect, though I do think the one down here, Replenishing Salvo, killing or incapacitating an enemy with the servo gun restores with equipment, cooldown is 90 seconds, is obviously better, because this is a very easy perk effect to pull off. Even though it has a 90-second cooldown, this is much better than consecutive execution even, because one-shotting a Minoris and stuff like that will happen all the time on your servo gun, and getting equipment off cooldown is very easy with this. Now, the perk up here is called Augmented Tarantula. Tarantula Sentry gun damage is increased by 25% and ammo increases by 50%. This sounds like it could be pretty strong. I mean, it might be strong in the official launch for the TECHMARINE, but like I said before, right now this perk is not necessary whatsoever because the TECHMARINE's Tarantula Sentry guns are so damn powerful on their own. So hopefully they take a look at that, but I do want this one to be pretty strong in the future of like Sentry gun builds. Now, something I want to mention about the Replenishing Salvo and next perk here, which is Fortifying Salvo, that gives you an armor segment every 30 seconds on killing or incapacitating an enemy with your servo gun. Neither of these perks will ever trigger off of your burn effect with Omniscience Fury, so this one makes it so your servo gun sets enemies on fire. This absolutely carries the servo gun currently because the servo gun damage is just pathetic without this perk, and the way this perk works is that it instantaneously applies a burn effect on the first shot, and that's a pretty rare thing in Space Marine 2. Like, the Pyre Blaster is required to like hold down its trigger to actually get the burn effect on an enemy, but this one just has to shoot a single shot from like a single Q press or, you know, a Y press on your Xbox controller. So that's a pretty powerful effect, but it will not trigger these perks on the burn kills. Just keep that in mind. You have to actually kill them with the servo gun. Now, the perk up here is called Counter-Offensive Protocols. After using the servo gun, melee damage increases by 35% for 10 seconds. This is a pretty good perk. I don't think it's as good as this one because armor in Space Marine 2 is just so damn strong, but getting a 35% additive melee damage buff for just hitting one button with like no real downside, that's pretty strong, and a 10-second uptime is fairly long. Next perk here, Strategic Gun Strike. Servo gun only targets Majora's level or higher enemies and deals 20% more damage when the target's more than 20 meters away. I mean, this could say it deals 100% more damage when the target's more than 20 meters away, and it would still not be very good. The only reason I would ever take this is because precision enhancement is just absolutely garbage without this perk effect active, because otherwise it'll just shoot Minoris, and this one only gets like 4 shots on the servo gun. But even then, it's just like this one still sucks regardless, so it doesn't matter too much. Now, for the Sentry perk tree, with Decapitating Stratagem, killing or incapacitating Majora's level or higher enemies with the servo gun regenerates its ability charge by 100%. The cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk could be pretty cool. Unfortunately, it will only take effect on the ones that it's worst on, on. And what I mean by that is the standard servo gun bolter is just not that benefiting. Excuse me, it doesn't benefit that much from this perk effect because the cooldown is not that bad. Usually turn it off before it runs out. Same thing with the plasma enhancement, but the precision enhancement would be, in theory, the best one for this perk here. But because this one doesn't actually have enough damage to kill any of the enemies it shoots at the moment, besides like zoanthropes, this perk effect pretty much never triggers on the one it would have the best synergy with, and you're just way better off taking burn. The next perk here is Lethal Perimeter. The servo gun marks a zone and automatically attacks enemies that enter it using 20% less energy per shot. This perk effect just sucks, okay? It might sound cool, like, oh, I put down a perimeter zone, but unfortunately, like I mentioned before, your servo gun does a donkey damage on its own without burn, so burn is pretty much mandatory, and using less energy per shot, which is, in theory, like, not the worst thing ever, it just does not matter. And also, the way this works is you put down, like, an auspex zone, and they enter that zone, you keep shooting them. That's pretty neat. Unfortunately, it's garbage, but I hope they take, like, a look at that and make it so it's, like, a lower energy use or something like that. Now, as far as the prestige perks go, you know, chained headshots here, just the acuity perk on the tactical, very strong here, very strong there. Also very strong because this class has access to the Oculus Bolt Carbine, and the Oculus Bolt Carbine has a ton of headshot damage, so really good synergy there. Next perk here is Revive Surge. When the TECHMARINE revives a squad member, both gain 15% faster ability charge regeneration for 10 seconds. This perk sucks ass. This is a garbage perk. It should be completely reworked. You know, revive perks in Space Marine 2 in general are just not good, and this one is one of the worst, so hopefully they take a look at this in the future. Sim Boost. Medicaid Sims for 40% more health. This is pretty good. You know, it's just resilience on the tactical. Honestly, you should definitely take this because this class is very squishy. And next perk here is a Volatile Sentry. Sentry turret explosion damage increases by 40%. I mean, we have no idea how much the sentry gun explosion really is. Well, I've used it a couple times. But the big problem is that the sentry guns are so OP on the PTS, they never blow up to begin with. So kind of a useless perk, but I'm sure it'll be better in the official game. Next perk here is Blast Radius. Increased equipment damage radius by 15%. This is a really nice synergy with perks like Methodical Destruction because you hit more enemies with your blast radius, which is pretty nice. I like the equipment focus here, so definitely take a look at this one. And next perk here is Defensive Stance, which is Scramble Targeting. And the final perk here is Furious Gunstrike. After using a Gunstrike, melee damage increases by 25% for 5 seconds. Now, unfortunately in Space Marine 2, the TECHMARINE's gun strikes on the servo gun do not actually trigger this. I'm sure it's an oversight or a bug. It'll probably be fixed in the official launch. But for now, this will only trigger on normal gun strikes. And normal gun strikes are only obtained on the TECHMARINE when your servo gun is active. So very, very rarely will you ever get this perk to actually work. But I'm sure it's an accident because it's probably supposed to work on the servo gun. Doesn't really make sense if it wasn't because a 5-second uptime is just not that long at all. So I'm sure they're just made a mistake. Now, as far as the new Omniscient axe is concerned, I think this is like the best setup for the heroic version and the fencing and balance versions. It's pretty fun to just rush through here, Perpetual Strength into the perk here, Armor Siphon. Killing a foe with the Omniscient Strike restores an armor segment, cooldown at 60 seconds. Moving here into the perk Perpetual Strength, then the perk Static Charge. Each foe hit during the Omniscient Rush increases damage by 10% within 40 seconds. Okay, I thought I read that English that right. I mean, the description's wrong. So it says each foe hit during Omniscient Rush increases damage of 10% within 4 seconds. Clearly the translation did not go through on the PTS. Next perk here is Iron Rush. Incoming range damage is reduced by 50% while using the Omniscient Rush attack. This is pretty nice. I've heard this is bugged a bit, but I'm sure that'll be fixed in the official patch. Next perk here is Armored Strength. Up here into the perk Expose. Foes hit by the Omniscient Rush or Omniscient Strike take 15% increased damage for 5 seconds. This is nice to rush an enemy, immediately get that damage buff on them, activate your servo gun, do more damage to them, and just like shoot them in the face or follow up with melee attacks. Pretty nice synergy there. Then I go down here in Perpetual Strength, and then I grab the perk here, Energized. While charging or releasing Electric Discharge, you won't lose control from heavy hits and cannot be knocked back. And then I also grab the perk here, Rapid Charge. Electric Discharge charges 40% faster. I think this gives you the best of everything you'd want on a rush build here, mainly because the perk down here, Executioner, is okay, but it works way better with the perk over here, Cleaving Strike. Light combo attacks this weapon, deal damage to nearby foes around the target, and like this perk is pretty damn powerful. Unfortunately, it will blow up barrels in your face if you are not careful, so keep that in mind. And the final perk here, Rapid Charge. Getting your discharges out faster is just super fucking useful on this weapon, so definitely grab this one. And currently, this perk, Mighty Blast, is bugged, and the other perks up here are not that bad. It's just that they don't give you a huge bonus compared to these, and there's not like a huge reason to go down this tree because they're pretty niche perks. Like this one's an armor restore with a 30% HP requirement, and this one has a 15-second cooldown for like one buff on one weapon attack, which is okay, but pretty gimmicky. Now, as far as like the balance and block versions are concerned, if you take block, I would just go down the bottom tree because you're going for all in on the cleaving strikes. You're going all in for things like supercharged follow-up. Afterwards, discharging next light attack becomes a powerful sprint attack. You get the perpetual strength. You get to go for full damage. You can grab that expose up here if you want, or you could skip this or one of these perks down here and just go all the way into the rapid charge. I probably would take rapid charge over expose here, but it really depends on how you want to set it up. But either way, I think the bottom tree definitely benefits off the block block Omniscient Axe more. And as far as the best melee weapon on this class currently, in my opinion, it's just the balanced power axe. You're probably like, what the fuck did you just say? Did you say balanced power axe is the best melee weapon on this class? Well, the thing is that because you have automatic servo gun strikes on this class and the arc cleave perk for 25% melee damage buffs that are multiplicative on your power wave, you can do more damage off of a power wave with a gun strike than you're doing off a single charge of a block axe, because they did buff up balanced weapons in this patch. So if we set it up this way and go perpetual strength into coup de grace into perpetual strength, and like build it for like the primary melee damage that we would on other classes up into the perks tactical retreat and power wave, you're doing like over 200 damage on a combo of a power wave into a gun strike, which is like over 70% of the HP of most Majoris in the game, which is pretty intense. So definitely a great option and probably the best option on the class. And if it's not this, it's definitely the block axe. And I really wouldn't take the fencing one because the perk up here, Power Strike, 20% more damage on gun strikes is pretty good for classes like Assault that take their secondary into account. But on this class, it's just not that good because your gun strike damage is just not that high in the servo gun ones. But if you want to, you definitely could, because I know some people like fencing. And as far as like the power sword is concerned, it's okay. The power sword's a power sword. It's an alright weapon. Definitely not like a top tier thing anymore, but it's okay. As far as the Power Gladius is concerned, with a 360% damage buff, this weapon on top of Arc Cleave, on top of all of your other melee damage buffs, yeah, you could hit like a truck on the combat knife with this thing. It's pretty damn intense, and the balanced knife may be a little off-putting to some people compared to the brand new fencing knife we have here that gives you the heroic perk effect in Knuckles. Riposte window is shorter, where each riposte deals damage to the attacker. But I would say the Power Gladius is still king, because getting damage on every parry with a shorter parry window, which is basically just a block window with a fencing effect, that's not terrible, but 360% damage buff is 360% damage buff. I think this weapon, the block and balanced power axes, and the Omniscient axe on the block and fencing versions, even the balanced one, which is pretty strong, are all going to be the best choices on here. The power sword being worse than slot, but still pretty decent. Now, as far as secondaries go, I do want to mention that the Inferno pistol has a weird interaction right now with the servo gun, that it will limit your gun strike range when you fire off a gun strike with your servo gun, because the Inferno pistol has a base range that is lower than all the other gun strike options in the game, and that'll be taken into account for your servo gun. I'm pretty sure it's a bug at the moment, but I just want to make sure people are aware of that. But that's pretty much my opinion on the breakdown on the TECHMARINE. So let me know what you guys think of the TECHMARINE currently. I'll have more guides around the Tarantula sentry guns and the more intricate details of the TECHMARINE servo gun and all that stuff in the future. And as always, thank you for watching. Take it easy. If you like content like this, subscribe for more. Bye. J-Boat don't float. Thank you for the prime sub. Sorry about that. Sorry it took so long, guys. Deepest apologies. Deepest apologies. That was quite the one take, I must say. My voice is tired. Now I play game. Hello, FTG. Can you show us how much damage the Omniscient Axis Balanceless Block does? I can do that, sure. Well. If it isn't the STG wannabe, it's true. So, we'll pull out the block one. So, if we go down the bottom tree here. You can actually one-shot Majoris off of this. It's been 87 years. Does TECHMARINE change anything about Fall of Atreus? They removed the voice line. That's really all they did. That's really all they did. That might sound disappointing to you, but... that's all they did. Alrighty. Let's see what we got. We'll take this in to the test arena real quick, and then we're actually going to play a game. That Power Axe perk for the overhead strike after Power Wave, how do you trigger that? I mean, all you have to do is just hold it down. Hold down the button. I'll make a whole weapon guide for that. I have a lot of things I have to make. Now, I'm not afraid of sitting in a recording room for 48 minutes straight, but it is a matter of time. That's some Mortal Kombat 11 theme. You're aware. I'm gonna have some water real quick while this loads in. If I don't die.
My brothers have fallen, but I stand in their stead.
Okay. George Shicey, thanks for tier 1 sub for 3 months. Thank you very much, George. Oh, is it all auto follow-up? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I can't show you here, but... Let's see. Warrior... That's 100 damage. Like, that's good. A third of their HP, so... The light attacks aren't terrible on this thing, but like the AoE radius is quite large. So I think this weapon will be quite popular with many players. TECHMARINE is too squishy to be good for new players. Dude, I think TECHMARINE is too squishy to be good for like, especially in siege mode, for like 99% of the players, probably everybody. Like, no fortitude perk on your class, dude. This guy's cooked. Like, there's no way this dude might actually just get one shot at like wave 40, no matter what. I mean, that's pretty true for most classes, but tactical at least has fortitude. This class might actually just be cooked. Also, without the burn effect on the TECHMARINE, and also without spare power, like, what are you giving up in siege mode for the TECHMARINE? That's the real question. Have you tested the Servo arm gun strike? Yes. The precision enhancement one's the only one that buffs it up. It's all like the lowest gun strike damage in the game, though. Thoughts on the new Heroic Combat Knife? It's pretty good. It's not terrible. It's not as good as the Power Gladius, but like, what is? What is as good as the Power Gladius, people? Okay, let us go play an actual operation now, shall we? I want to take the fencing one, though. I think the fencing and balance are going to be better overall for this guy, just because he benefits a lot off gun strikes. So, I still think this is the best here. I think he needs conviction. I agree. I have a whole video I'm going to post on like feedback of what I think should be here. Like, I genuinely think the only players that would be against him having conviction are like ultra elitist tryhards that just don't want anybody to have a good time with him unless you're like absolutely sweating their balls off. And I don't think that's really fair to those players. You have 2 of the guardsmen wandering around the map. Thoughts on the heroic? Have you tested the servo on Gunstrike? So would you just run block because Gunstrike damage is low and block stacks just kill everything? No. I actually think that Gunstrikes... Well, you have automatic Gunstrikes. So you can fit in a ton of Gunstrikes in this game. It also staggers enemies. So, for example, if I overhead strike on my Omniscient Axe here, and then I immediately do a Gunstrike servo, the servo will stagger the enemy I just hit, and then I will have time to charge up the discharge here for more damage. So it actually has a lot of cool synergies. Like, they did put some thought into this. I talked about this a couple times, and like some videos I'm gonna be posting pretty soon, that the TECHMARINE feels like it's a post-launch class. And what I mean by that is, it feels like they took all of the knowledge they had gained from a year and a half of updates, and they implemented that into this class. It does not feel like they implemented this class straight up from launch. Like, Tactical, Assault, Vanguard, Bulwark, Sniper, and Heavy, they stick, especially compared to the launch versions, compared to TECHMARINE. Like, TECHMARINE has a far more fluid gameplay loop to them, and there's a lot more investment in, like, how his weapons combine with each other. With the Omniscient Axe especially, this weapon feels very well thought out in how they want to incorporate it with servo gun strikes. So I think that's a pretty good job there. My biggest issues with this guy is, like, ease of use and, like, knockback. He gets knocked around a lot. TECHMARINE is way too glass, but not enough cannon. The Tarantula will get nerfed. I think they want him to be a keep-away class, but they didn't really know how to implement that properly, so instead, he got cooked. Let's do a little bit of reclamation, maybe? This might actually be hard on him. Depends. Well, what are we taking? Make sure we build this right first. So I think fortifying salvo is pretty good. I do like all of these, though. This class is really fun, though. Like, if I had to go, like, fun factor, this class is S. Not even a question. We're also going to play him all Space Wolf-like, because if you're unaware, guys, Space Wolves, non-Codex compliant chapters like Black Templars, Space Wolves, even Flesh Terrors, because these guys are not Codex compliant for Space Marine Blood Angels, they can just wear whatever the fuck they want, dude. Like, they wear whatever they want. You just, like, you can absolutely drip your guy out. It's only the Codex compliant chapters that are red all the time. This class is S or ass. I mean, where would I put the TECHMARINE currently? Let me think. Do I think he's better than Vanguard? In some ways, yes. He might actually be the weakest class in the game. He might technically be the weakest class in the game. But that could easily change if they just gave him like 2 perks. If they gave him Conviction, and they gave him like a little bit of ammo regen, like an Emperor's Vengeance perk, suddenly he goes up to like B or A. Pretty easily. But, like, what is the worst class in Space Marine 2, really? The only, like, guys, the only place that really comes into play in Space Marine 2 is, like, guys, are we pushing to wave 40 plus Siege? And, like, 99% of people are never doing that, so. 99% of players are never pushing past wave 40 Siege. Every class is totally fine in hard stratagems and operations, and, like, that's just pure skill issue at that point. Siege mode is where, like, classes get hard locked. That's what they do. That's why I think Siege mode's a little boring in this game, is that, like, the meta is just known for Siege, pretty much. It's like, okay, what are we taking? Oh, we're taking Tactical, Assault, and Bulwark, and if you don't take that, you're just not going to get as high. That's the real question. That's the only question. Because these classes are just too good together. Heavy has fallen off a little bit, just because his gun damage falls off. He's also just consumes more. Assault's ground pound with the Thunder Hammer is 100 fucking cleave. So a block hammer just hits like a goddamn truck with Auspex on a wave. And Tactical is probably the single best support class in any Saber game ever. because Aspect Scan is just fucking ridiculously overpowered. Not even overpowered, it's just ridiculously potent. It's the best class ability in the game. This one definitely is. It is so strong. I was here no shade for Assault, the Power Hammer CHP buffs coming past 12, though Bulwark is definitely leagues above it. I think Assault is probably better than Bulwark right now in terms of like what... Actually, not for Operation, only in Siege mode. This class scales up a lot in Siege mode. I would sooner give up Bulwark in Siege mode than I give up Assault, because Assault just does so much. Anyways, let's go play game. We play what? We play a little Reclamation. We might get our cheeks clapped on this one. This final boss fight can be pretty hard without like a block weapon. Fuck it, we do it live. We'll take the Plasma Incinerator buff. We'll take the little Plasma Pew-Pews. We will do the Pew of Plas. We will take this. We'll take the Fortifying Salvo. And we'll take the Omniscience Fury. And then fun will be achieved. Space King? What about Space King? What about Space King? I would give up Bulwark for Vanguard with MS heal and Siege. So many Extremis heals. I mean, Vanguard's not very strong at all. Vanguard's one of the worst classes in Siege mode, ironically. Doesn't do any damage. Bulwark is a significantly better class in Siege. Vanguard's bottom, too. Vanguard might actually be worse than Sniper. What do you think the new progression update for the classes will be? More prestige perks or something different? It depends. We'll see. We'll see what they do. How does the gun strike damage work on TECHMARINE? It's still based on the secondary choice. I'll have a whole video posted, but no, it's based on your servo gun. Unless your servo gun is active shooting, and then I get stuck in another infinite loading screen, dude. Are we for real? It's happened a couple times in the PTS for me. 30-second. All right, we'll have to fix that now. Wonderful. Somebody say 30-second armor is really good in Siege. Yeah, focus restoration is significantly better than the other one. It definitely is. I guess I'll have to load back up. Wondrous. Love it. Love to see it. I wish they would add subclasses and new abilities for every class. That would be nice. But I don't think... Dude, the perk design of the classes that exist currently is just not that epic. Evening Brothers, what's up, Chonk, man? I like running Sniper with Carbine if I'm matching with random, so I can always pick them. FTG, have you tried out the new Assault perk yet? A little bit. So it's actually functioning on all dash attacks right now, which is quite funny. Every single one of them. Vanguard's fun if you say fuck the melt and use a melee weapon. Vanguard's ability is so fun. Vanguard is fun. He's definitely overrated, though. Right. We're back. Did it save my perk loadout? Please say yes. How hard are they going to nerf siege mode XP? Well, the total XP will remain the same. You just don't get to be like... You don't get to just AFK the first 5 waves and get like a disproportionate amount of XP anymore. They nerfed that. That was the nerf they did. If you get to 25, you'll still get the full payout. But like, it's more proportional. Like the actual amount of ways you can complete it. At this point, Assault is underrated. I mean, yes, it is. Assault propaganda is undeniable. Assault is one of the best classes in Space Marine 2. It is either S tier or A tier, and there is no question. It just is that guy. The only question is how easy it is for you, the player, to play. But like, as far as effectiveness goes, when like firing on all cylinders, it's the guy. It is the guy.
37 hours, 12 minutes ago, the Imperial cruiser Wrath of Espandor in orbit around Avarax transmitted a distress beacon.
Which one is the best? Bulwark's probably the best class in the game currently, for like overall content.
Its cyclonic arsenal and its proximity to several Tyranid
People still call it the worst class in Discord and Reddit. That'll always be the case, but like, I understand why.
Additional squads are inbound to secure objectives. Make your way to the
Not every player is like paying attention. The majority of players don't give a shit about like the hardest things that are done in this game. Space Marine 2 is just not a game for sweats. It's just not. I mean, it kind of is. There's stuff there, but I came to this conclusion that like Space Marine 2's player base just does not give a shit about what a class has done, how hard something actually is. Half the time they can't even like tell the difference in like difficulty between things and like how the game actually functions. Because we're here for it's just 40k gamer dams. It's not like Darktide. In Darktide you would have these players constantly. Reddit tends to be the bottom 5% of players. I think they're the top 20. The bottom 20% think they were top 5%. Yes, especially true in this game. You recommend Bulwark? I think, okay, the best class for a brand new player is by far a Melta Vanguard. I don't even think it's close. It's just like the game plays itself. You don't have to do much input on that. Right, perfect. How is the new assault perk working? Does it recharge jump pack when you ground pound someone or when you dodge an attack? No, it recharges when you do the dash attack. I guess some people aren't aware the assault has a new dash attack that was added in like last patch because it sucked. I did not turn that off in time as a suboptimal use. I think this weapon's going to be very popular among newer players. And that's everybody. I think it's very popular on the patch. I think this class is like so close to being such a noob-friendly class. All they have to do is just give it some damage reduction, which I think they should. I think there is no reason to not give this class damage reduction. Like, the only people that would seriously have an issue in Space Marine 2 with giving this class like 1 damage reduction perk are like ultra tryhard sweats that most of the community doesn't like anyways. It'd be elitism. That's really all it would be. Oh, look at that. Pretty good for a horde clear. Alright, where is this biovore? There must be a biovore, right? Or is that Raze is gonna get a absolute dumping? Best class is tactical. That'll be fun. Oh shit, I really underestimated the damage there. There we go. Now you will chew through enemies at range with the Oculus on this class. Like, look at that. How good would assault armor reinforcement perk on gun strikes be on TECHMARINE? I don't know, dude. How good is like being an actual god on Earth? That good. If you got armor on gun strikes on TECHMARINE, holy shit. This class would be on crack. Earthbound peasants something. The dads have 2 hours to play when they come home. You know, there's a give and take to all things in gaming. Like, you don't want to make your game only for like sweaty tryhards that have no jobs and just play all day. It couldn't be me, of course. But you also don't want to make your game only for people who are like the most hyper of hyper casuals. Well, I think you can do both. The problem really comes when the super sweaty people start wanting everything to be like ridiculously hard at all levels because they just don't like the idea of people having an easier time in content that they did that was hard at one point. But I think that matters way more for games for like MMOs than it does for a game like this, because in this game, is this an update? This is the public test server for the new updates coming out. Iron Hands cosmetic, I'm a Flesh Terror. Very different. We're a Blood Angel successor. Alright, let's see what we got here. Boy. The discharge of this is quite good for horde clear.
Combat squad Tarantula reporting in. The bridge is lost, as are my squad brothers.
What's the lore accurate chapter drip out of TECHMARINE? I mean, literally any chapter is a lore accurate chapter drip out of TECHMARINE.
Standing by. Be advised.
It would be like, I'd say the most accurate chapters would be things like Praetors of Orpheus. They're very tech focused. Iron Hands, of course. Iron Warriors, if you're a little heretical. I think the difficult levels are pretty good. My casual friend has a good time on it, and I can turn it up the difficulty when I'm on my own. I think it's definitely gotten better. I think the game now is easier than it used to be, which is a good thing. At launch, the game was very needlessly. I should say the things that were strong were very strong, but the things that were weak were like abysmal. Okay. Have you tried custom stratagems? They look very fun. I have looked into them quite a bit. I don't know, guys. Do you want damage reduction on this class? I feel like it would just be good for the player base, personally. in my time making content for Space Marine 2, one thing is proven absolute, and it is that the majority of the player base does not take this game that seriously, and they prefer to just have fun. And Saber Interactive has done a fairly decent job at giving everybody something to do, but I think the majority of the player base would benefit from that. Which chapter you're using cosmetic-wise is a flesh tear. Alright, let's go do this. They are a Blood Angel successor, which technically they're not Codex compliant. In fact, Blood Angel doesn't like them that much.
I need you to disable the entire cooling array. Concentrate fire on the exposed cooling rods.
Oh, that's so cool. Alright, can I cut through the waves of guys? This is where that range perk is really overperforming. Not the piss nade, anything but the yellow nades. That was a lot of guys. That was quite the experience right there. What are your thoughts on Minotaurs? They are kind of the Inquisition's bitch, but they're pretty cool considering that. I mean, that's a pretty big downside. Does the pistol on your shoulder run out of ammo? No, it's infinite ammo. It's just based on your ability. Recharge. What is it? Yeah. God, I do love the octopus here. Alright, let's grab this shock nade.
Identify blockages and remove Xenos organisms.
Oh, that may have been a mistake. I shouldn't have used my sin there, it was a waste. What's the best way to level classes? I have a whole video on that, if you're curious. I have two, actually. The newer one's better.
Registering extreme temperature fluctuation. Plasma cooling efficacy
All right.
severely reduced.
Are we winning yet? Has sport behavior changed at all?
You'll need to repeat the same
I'm blown apart with
process
them.
for the second array.
I'm playing a couple months. I mean, that's just what they do. They blow you apart. It's kind of their whole thing. I think the new custom stratagems mode on the people that we're talking about, I think this would be great for the player base. There's a lot of cool things you can do. Set up things with your friends. Community events. I thought you were a different one. But I got the sim bug, the HP bug, damn it. This is a bug on the test server right now. Is that like your CHP can just bug out? I like the new sim shot. New sim shot's very good. Alright, good. The bug screwed itself up. Okay. What difficulty do this on? It's absolute. Absolute. This is always a fun time by yourself. This stupid portion of the mission. There we go. Ooh, a sentry gun. I do want to grab some ammo before I leave. I had the Minotaurs that hurt my beautiful boys. Minotaurs are okay, man. Like, they get a bad rap. They are kind of the Inquisition's bitch, but they did some good sometimes. Me and my brother love your streams, FTG. You got us into 40k, now we co-op the game non-stop because of you. Appreciate you, man. I'm more happy to get you into 40k. I am very passionate about many a nerd thing. Like Bionicles. Ahu #1. After you figure out how to properly use the Omniscient Axe blocks, also how you perform the charge follow-up heavy attack. I mean, all you have to do is charge. This is the Omniscient track. I haven't seen the Omniscient strike, but Minotaurs fuck the Lamenters, screw 'em. I mean, who doesn't fuck the Lamenters though? Let's be real talk. The bug only get fixed if you take damage. Honestly, it's better not to make it the official. It better not make it to the official patch. Given Saber's track record, it will. You're probably not wrong. You're not wrong. Dude, you like Bionicles? Hell yeah, Pim. I knew I liked you, bro. Bring it in, dog. Alright. Well, we got rid of the really annoying sport mines here. I think it only takes 2 shots here to apply the burn effect. Maybe only 1. Pretty sure it's 2. At least for the plasma. Holy moly. That's the only time you actually get your normal gun strikes there. I think I have to say stat though. I don't want them stacked. I want them like equidistant. Or I should say I want them back to back. That'll slow down the current effects at least, but there's 3 zone throws back here. I want them in front so I can do this. Oh, whoops. Did they mention there being 1 million extremis per bosses in the patch notes? No. So what's happening? So he got stuck. Oh, I'll get you out, little buddy. Gotta push you down. Oh, okay, he's actually stuck. In charge. I guess we'll just do it the old-fashioned way. And now we emote on him. They so little get the burn on them with that.
Classified signals destroyed.
Dim shot. Those were good. Those are better than the actual Sims now, I think. They pretty much make you immortal the entire time, as long as you don't get damage nukes. Oh, yes. Man, the Oculus is so good on this class. I'll also do this.
We have lost contact with Heraton leader, and Octavio is pinned down. You must destabilize the plasma reactor. Our brothers from Phaedrus and Heraton shall not have died in vain.
Alright, what else is here? Would you stream Banjo-Kazooie Recomp? I'm sorry, I'm exclusively obligated to stream Monkey Ball Island. Armory data. Not that that matters at all on the public test server, but... What's up, everybody? What's up, James? Have you built any 40k models? Only some Blood Angel stuff. And a pile of shame. Alright.
Refreshing armaments.
That Axe Rush reminds you of the Dead Rising game? That's actually... That was an old reference, Revan. But yes. It does remind me of Dead Rising. That's a Capcom classic right there. I remember mowing down thousands and thousands of zombies with a Humvee in that game to get the achievement.
Inserting fresh magazines.
Yo, FTG, what are your thoughts on where instead of heroic weapons, we could apply heroic effects to weapons? For example, you could apply the heroic effect of the Xenophase Blade to the block version of the power source, and the stats would change accordingly when the heroic effect is applied. I mean, I'm all for more build variety in the game. I think that is the single most important thing in Space Marine 2, and really any horde shooters to have more build variety in it. I return. Hope you're purging Xenos with max efficiency. We are certainly purging Xenos. With max efficiency is a different question entirely. I mean, that guy definitely got purged. I'm gonna take the shock nade. God, look at these things go, dude. That poor bastard. Never changed turret. These turrets just turned the Hive fleet into an army of lamenters. Alright. This final portion could be a little difficult, but we'll see. We do have a lot of horde clear. Daka, 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 daka.
Access granted. Monstrous Xenos eradicated.
Really all you have to do.
Formidable tyranny organisms eliminated. Large tyranid organism destroyed.
That's really good at horde clearing. Like this little rush. Like, cause you can fire your servo gun to get armor back while you're doing this, so you can just kind of sit there and just charge through them all endlessly. That's quite fun.
Tyranids dispersed.
How do you have access to this? It's just on the public test server for the. As long as you have Steam, I have a community post about it. If you're curious how to get onto it, it is available for everyone on PC. I'm pretty sure it's only on Steam though. When is the update dropping? Like a few weeks.
That reactor must be destroyed. Honor our brothers.
Oh no.
Honor our chapter.
Okay, I had armor. It's funny that the Sword Warrior block is so powerful in this game, it'll actually block the damage of your, It'll block the damage of your Tarantula Sentry gun.
Cycling cartridges.
Pew, 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 pew. Alright, where are they coming? Let's try this. It's a long boss fight. At least with this weapon. Where my cracker did go? Oops. So annoying. My crack grenade got ate by the warp. What was that bullshit? Did not finish the objective. Hello? Okay. I've seen enough in Nurk's TECHMARINE. Yeah, it's definitely a, I mean, Omni Cyan X definitely does the job. Pretty fun. Oh, I forgot they always die there. Can't choo-choo train your way out, that's true. Alright, this is how we escape the ship, guys. Easy peasy.
If not for your valor, Talassa, this operation would have ended in a major loss for the Imperium.
That's how you get out the ship. It's a really good ability. Can you use servo gun while chewing? Oh yes, yes you can. Yes, you indeed can. Now that's fun. You like that. That was fun shit. Can't lie. Thank you, Slaneshi Tentacle Marine, for the 100 bits. Actually, should I be saying thank you for the 100 bits from Slaneshi Tentacle Marine? I don't know. Can the TECHMARINE use the chainsword? Hilariously, no. He has all access to all the power weapons. You have Power Gladius, Power Sword, Power Axe, and the Omniscient Axe. These are all pretty good. They're all pretty good. Hammer would be nice. Hammer would be pretty neat. We do a sentry gun build. I mean, I don't know how good it will be, but equipment sentry gun build. Sentry gun with the balance axe. So the balance axe, I talked about this earlier, does a stupid amount of damage, so we can definitely try. I do like me a little bit of the combi melta too. Now personally, I like building this one this way. Like, you can get more damage at a rampage, but I prefer recoupment. That's just me. Tactical precision, this will lower the damage of your this perk will lower the damage of your servo guns. It's quite funny. Quite unfortunate, actually. Alright, let's go kill some guys. I love this patch, guys, I have to say. It's really fun. I can't wait for the official launch. Decapitation. I need to focus most of your PTS time with TECHMARINE, but you get a chance to check the Sniper's improvements against Chaos by any chance? I mean, I don't think they matter all that much, to be entirely honest with you. They don't seem that substantial. Am I gonna do a collab with a real Asian robot, dude? How could I ever deny a collab with such a renowned figure?
Assist in the defense of the bridge until you can
I actually missed my choo-choo now.
Rigging reporting. 1 minute from insertion.
It's time, chat. So much damage. The TECHMARINE screams are funny to me. He does yell a lot. This is my favorite class in the game right now. I mean, it also helps that I've been playing the same class since launch, or the same classes since launch. They've had some varying changes, but like this is definitely a clever girl. He dodged. Wouldn't you if you had a robotic arm? More grunting, the better. It's true, dude. He does have a robo arm. He does oomph when he kills stuff. It's cool. It is certainly cool. Hey man, need a 40k world. Been loving your videos. What class would you recommend in No Life to do all the hard content, level weapons, etc.? Thanks in advance. I mean, those are two very different things. It's doing all the hard content and leveling your weapons, but look at that power axe damage. Holy. I would say Bulwark's a pretty easy one to level up. Oh my god, it's a lot of guys. Another pretty good grenade. Alright, where are my sentry bots? Yes, we're built for this. Now, currently the sentry bots are pretty nuts, but it actually does make a pretty big difference when you have all the ammo, too. Dude, look at that. Holding his swords up for dear life. That's so dumb that, like, they can actually stop what is effectively a dreadnought turret just shooting at them. By holding up their sword arms. Shock nades. I'll take those. Ah, yes. Yeah, stream at that. Who are you yelling at? Oh, and he also just happened to kill this one with like the last 3 shots. Okay. Alright, we are built around you, so get back online. I want damage and you do damage. It's a perfect combo. Day 1 of asking Quirkless to cover Mojalo. I don't know, man. Does Mojalo pay as well as Face for me too? Actually, probably. Yeah, probably does. Also, what's up, Kaio? I was busy gatekeeping Alonzo's chat the other day. No, I know you were there. How we handle Raveners in this house. Most low-hitting numbers my channel never did during peak OG JJK. It's crazy. You're trying to be nuts. You actually crushed if you came back. You know, it's funny you say that, Kaio, because Josh has been begging me for work. He's been absolutely begging me. He's been sending me messages like, daily reminder, Mojalo is right there. Send audio, love long time. That was the actual text he sent me. TECHMARINE just feel like an aura farming and gun strikes. True. Maharaga level aura farming.
Gun strike ready to deploy.
Bang. I thought he only gets paid in raisins. That's true. That's the street price for Josh in betweener. It's just why we call him Josh in between jobs. Even the TECHMARINE bot will activate the turret soon. No. Actually, no. Kaio brews the £5 secret chat. At least one Mojalo video for the hashtag culture. I promised them I'd make one. Dude, Mal's axe is... I really didn't dislike best in the slots. Or this or the block axe. But Maharaga's never won a fight. Hold on. He's working on it. He's working on it right now, dude. Let him cook. Off my turret. I want this turret more than I've ever wanted anything my whole life. It's a lie. Was it worth it? Not really. Flip that promise line. I mean, it's already on the other stream I did on my other channel. Wow, they ran out of ammo fast. I guess what happens with a lot of guys, huh? I'll show you what happens when I have a lot of bullets. Want to be a terrible success rate? Hold on. No Maharaga slander in this chat, guys. Chill out. 3M, gonna sleep. Glad to catch you. Made me happy. Take care. Take it easy, Kaio. Thanks for stopping by, dude. And I will make the most of the video, okay? Quirkle Shinobi will be revived. You're not. It's unfortunate it happened to come out in the middle of TECHMARINE, but that Yuji Itadori himself returns in the middle of TECHMARINE, but that's the way it do be. The on-demand Black Flash, exactly, dude.
Servo harness got the label.
Wow. First of all, give me another one in a second. Yep. There we go. So it delays your secondary gun strike. It's the only thing I don't like about the servo gun. What was the point of having Balancer or Block Axe on TECHMARINE? Well, it's because the Balanced Axe, so it does like 150 damage on a power wave, but because you're also a TECHMARINE, you can gun strike while you're doing your power wave with no animation. So you're actually getting over the damage of a single charge Block Axe. Like that. Quite intense. Any new helms with the update? Yeah, 7 Mark 5 Picarodone's one. And fencing just too low damage compared? Yeah, fencing is just not worth taking on TECHMARINE because he doesn't really benefit from the gun strike perk, which is the main reason you take a fencing. It's the main reason you take a fencing power axe. I mean, I would say fencing in general is still pretty good on him. I just wouldn't take it with that one thing, you know?
We were not expecting such illustrious
Ooh, Medicaid stims. Like that. Ooh, turret, I like that more. Gambit the Storm Guardian says sup. What is up, Gambit the Storm Guardian? Okay, it's time. Oh, I could actually shoot some. This was the holdout build I was envisioning.
But it is a horde of Xenos.
This thing has such a far range.
You have its attention. It is moving to intercept. Apply more pressure.
Hold them off. Open up.
Final organ isn't spotted. Larger Xenos will not be far. Spore lines infect this layer. Inserting fresh magazines.
Hive mind knew I was camping.
Keep your eyes peeled. The Xenos leader
That's so cool.
visual range.
I didn't have to move an inch pretty much. Does the turret count towards your range damage? No, it does not. That's so cool. The TF2 turret? Yeah, pretty much. Turret has its own stats on the end screen. We dream.
Gun strike ready to deploy. Cycling cartridges.
With the TECHMARINE activating turrets across the map, makes you worry about the viability of other classes because activating turrets are so unique and beneficial another class can do. Well, they do a lot of other things. You know, they have better team perks and stuff like that. I don't think the TECHMARINE is going to be OP. I think like the turret's starting to get nerfed a little bit. Like that's just coming. But
Reloading. Waiting on you.
this is our turret build right now. The sentry gun build.
Inserting fresh magazines.
Let me this. No, 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 no. Oh, okay.
Summoning reinforcements. Tyranny leader base destroyed. Rearming war.
Alright, come on in, come on in. Into my turret. Well, that's just cheap. They know, they know. This is like the death zone. This is the kill zone, dude. You guys ever played XCOM 2? It's like the, you know, you put up kill zone, your sniper, it's like that.
Replenishing ordnance.
That is satisfying. Or FTG freak out, dude. It always happens when I'm interacting with an object and the sniper's coming. Just immediately turn to John Bernthal. Wait. Which they changed the goofy roll just for a dash, like in Roll Marine 2. Does the TECHMARINE class have less team-based perks, in theory reducing its viability? Specific examples? Dude, when we talk about viability, it does not matter that much in Space Marine 2. Like, every class in this game... I'm surprised I didn't get the, I should kill him. I forgot. Does the turret spawn randomly on the map? It spawns in random positions among set positions. So what I mean by that is it's randomized like a Guardian Relic. There's just way more options for it to pop out in. God, this axe does so much damage. Is that not satisfying, guys? Is that not one of the coolest things you've ever seen? I'm actually having too much fun. Stop having fun right the fuck now. I'm actually staggered by like how much fun I still have playing this game. It's just a satisfying gameplay loop for me. My monkey brain go burr, and I'm happy every time. I found the Omniscient axe kind of clunky. That still is an actual thing. It gets less clunky the more you realize how it interacts with like the TECHMARINE perks, but it's definitely an issue. Stop, you're having fun the wrong way. And just it's satisfying to play, man.
Servo harness gun available.
Are we still the topic of block versus balance power axe? I mean, on this class, balance is pretty damn good. Especially since they have buffed up all the balance. The balance weapons this patch. So their base damage is very high. Very high. Like, look at that combo. So you can do your return shot simultaneously, which is just nuts. That's so much damage. Oh my. Oh, that's a danger zone. That will almost one-shot you. That would kill me. That's so good. Love to see it. Is anyone getting a keybind bug with the TECHMARINE? Can't change weapons, that's my Q key. Uses the ability instead. I couldn't help you with that. That was pretty fun. You tested the Kraken around tactical yet? It's not bad with heavy bolt rifle. Dude, it's broken, General Vodka. It's like actually fucking... I made a whole video on it. It buffs up your actual burn damage and also stacks with the bonus damage that you get from that stacks with the Auspex. Bro, this seems like a lot more than 35k total damage. That's because we had the turret going off all the time. So that was the sentry gun build. Quite a little fun one, I must say. That was a little hoot. Alright, well, I'll call it there for now, and we're gonna raid Froggy. And she is currently streaming in Space Marine 2 category for some reason, but okay. Alright, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. You're all my goats. More TECHMARINE in the days to come. As always, thank you for watching. That's all from me. Bye-bye.